Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Quarantine Zone. Thanks very much for coming to hang out for half an hour or so with me and Kit. It's a great, privilege, Kit, to have you coming to hang out for a little bit. How's it going, man?
All good, yeah. The neighbours just had a firework display, so things are looking up.
Cool. Are you back in the UK?
Yeah, back in Chesham.
Okay, great.
In Chesham.
Um, yeah, so today is going to be a really cool episode because I have a couple of brand new videos featuring Kit and featuring some other guests as well. It's obviously quite difficult to do loads of new videos every week, but this week we have two, and next week we're going to have some more, and the week after, and so on. So it's going to be great. Um, First of all, a little poll for everyone. Can anyone guess what I am wearing beneath the shirt? If anyone gets it right, they get Kit will do a private recital for 5 hours at your house. Um, anyway, all right, enough of that. So yeah, so Kit, I first heard you play. I think it was at Ronnie's, and I think it was with Empirical. I also heard your trio at six, which I really enjoyed. I think that was one of the first times I heard James Madron, and sort of tried to get his number from somewhere and tried to call him because I wanted some of that going on in my band. And I also heard you play at the con, and I think it was a Monday night with Troika, and James Allsop was playing, and Rich Turner was there, and it was, it was a really kind of quiet night, but it was amazing. You played a tune called The Bear, I
Oh yeah,
think. Do you remember that? Does this sound?
yeah. I mean, all of that is sounds plausible.
Yeah.
Yeah, we used to have a tune called "The Bear" that was. We used to play that in trio with Callum and James, and it was like a little silly tune about David Attenborough getting too close to a bear. It was like quite a violent, visceral tune.
Yeah. Was it a kind of, well, there's that film, The Grizzly Man, right?
Yeah, it Herzog, that sort of territory. Yeah,
Wow.
but David Attenborough didn't get eaten in our.
Okay, good. Yeah, you
That'd be
couldn't,
awful.
you couldn't,
I
yeah,
mean, who would write a tune about that?
no,
It's terrible.
yeah, horrible people.
Just a warning shot, really.
Yeah, just be careful of bears,
Yeah,
essentially, the message.
essentially.
Um, and Kit, I'm not sure if you can remember this actually, to spring this on you, but this is quite funny and very, very topical. So I think I called you for a gig and it was in swine flu, and you got swine flu and couldn't do the gig. Now, for all I know, you might have just been hungover or got a better gig, which I wouldn't I wouldn't begrudge you at all. But yeah, this is like 10 years ago, maybe, or
I said
nine
I
years
had
ago.
swine flu. I probably said I had flu because I always get flu every year, but
Yeah,
I don't think that was swine flu.
yeah, but it was in that swine flu era
Yeah, I mean
anyway.
maybe it was swine flu. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Can you hear the
anyway,
fireworks going off?
I can. Yeah, I thought it might just be Ruth crashing around or something.
She's got clumsy. No, no, that's someone's. They've got the. What's it? Those guys, the Catherine wheels.
Yeah, yeah.
They're going off and frightening all our cats at the moment.
Oh, how many do you have?
Well, we actually only have one,
Okay.
but we sometimes we look after other others as well.
Ah, my sister is fostering cats, so
Oh,
yeah, the number varies on a sort of hourly basis, and there's all types of characters. You get like the really feisty ones, the ones that are sort of really drugged up and barely seem alive, but then come to life when the drugs are worn off. There was one who wasn't able to move her back two legs,
hmm.
so but it didn't bother her. She was just crashing around like you know.
Yeah, we got a cat on our street that's lost a leg, so it's a tripod cat,
Mm,
and it still goes hell for leather up the street and chases off other cats, but
great.
lottery, yeah, it's brilliant.
It brings the vibe anyway. Like one leg, two leg, three, whatever. It doesn't matter.
But not me.
Throws down. Yeah. Um, cool. So, all right. Let's play the first video. I can't remember when we recorded this, maybe a couple of weeks ago, maybe a month ago, a little bit longer. This features Kit on piano, and it features me on guitar, obviously, and Mr. Matt Ridley on bass, and it's a piece called Waltz from my, I think it was 2015 album, Zero Sum World, and I'm just going to cue that up, and yeah, here we go, let's check it out. Oh, there's a little false start. Let me just start that again. Sorry, everyone. Yeah, nice playing, Kit.
You too. Very nice.
Bring the person on the stream.
Ruth's just
Hey, Ruth.
come to drop me off her tea. You just shouted at the neighbours for the fireworks. Yeah.
Yeah,
Very
great playing, man.
yeah, lovely.
It's a tricky harmonic thing in that. And yeah, I think when I sent it to Kit, he sort of like the next day was like, "Here you go," just an email back like a video file. um, yeah, it was. You turned it around quite quickly. I remember. So
Oh,
I was like,
intense time study went into it. I think I remember spending a good day on that, trying to get inside it.
"Oh man,
Yeah, in a
oh
in a nice, enjoyable way. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, it's appreciated, man, and it sounds great." Um, yeah. So okay, probably you've heard of Kit. A lot of people tuning in will have, but just for a couple of people that haven't, Kit is like really prolific, and I'm interested in a lot of what he's done. Um, One of the things that's really interesting to talk about is the 365 thing. Now, of course, that's not it's sort of co-led, but I think it's Aidan O'Rourke's kind of thing. But there's a book by James Robertson. Oh, I don't know, Kit. Shall I let you introduce it? Do you feel like giving some spiel, or shall I?
I'm easy. I can follow your lead.
Okay, yeah, you can correct anything if I talk a load of rubbish. So there's a novelist, I believe, and poet called James Robertson from Scotland, Edinburgh, I think, and he wrote a book called 365 Stories. There's one for every day of the year, and each one is 365 words long. And it is a really cool book. 365 words is like maybe two-thirds of a normal page or something. And so it's really cool to try and read like a story a day for a year. Now, if the story was like 50 pages long, it would be unmanageable. You wouldn't believe how hard it is, though, to read one page. There would be times when I would like leave the book for my wife, but I would like take a picture of the pages so I could read if I was going away for a bit. Anyway, so Aidan O'Rourke, who's an amazing violin player, fiddle player from Scotland, has done musical kind of interpretations or basically pieces inspired by these things. And Kit plays harmonium, piano, any other instruments?
No, just those two.
Yeah. And so there are 365 amazing pieces of music. And so that's one cool thing that Kit's done. You injured your hand, another thing which connects with this sort of miniature format, if that's what we could call it. You injured your hand a while ago and decided to do. How many pieces did you do? Well, tell us about the. You know where I'm
Sure,
going.
yeah. Well, that was sort of inspired greatly by Aidan's response to that 365 book you mentioned. Aidan then did the same challenge that James Robertson, the writer, did, and he wrote a piece, a short sort of melodic response to each one, which we then recorded all of them and picked our favorites and sort of made a live touring thing out of that. But then I think it was about a couple of months after I met Aidan, I injured my hand putting on a sock incorrectly. Until then, I didn't know was a risk that we had to deal with. But
Yeah. I do get scared sometimes, man. When I'm taking on my socks or putting on my socks, I'm like,
don't force it.
yeah,
So
let it happen.
don't be in a rush. Just let it happen. Yeah, really, I didn't even have any pain leading up to it, or I didn't have any tendonitis or anything beforehand, and I just rushed putting a sock on, and caught it at a bad angle, and I just
Yeah.
I heard like a sound, and then I looked at it, something felt strange, and then I looked at my finger, and it was bent upwards unnaturally.
Oh my God.
No, hang on, sorry, it was bent this actually downwards,
Yeah.
but at the joint rather than at this joint at the. So it's the
Yeah.
extensor tendon that I ripped. It's like a really common sports injury apparently. If you play like basketball, if the ball like bounces on your hand by
Yeah.
accident, or cricket, stuff like that, it happens a lot. And it's not a bad injury, and it's quite a common one. In fact, I think Johnny Mansfield had it, the Vibes player as well.
All right.
You get sort of put in a little finger splint for maybe 2 months, something
Yeah.
like that. And so that was I had 2 months of not playing any left hand, and I realized I had to cancel everything obviously, and realized pretty quickly I was going to need a project to get me through it in a way, just to
Mm.
I don't know, just to continue feeling like a musician whilst not playing gigs.
Mm.
Very current, topical thing, obviously. Um, so I made this little project for myself to write a one-hand kind of etude every day for the right hand, so at least I could keep my right hand in good shape. And
Mm.
I started finding ways also to play chords and play counterpoint, kind of
Mm.
get a better grip of that with one hand and things.
Mm.
And went through lots of different compositional avenues and found myself starting to repeat myself and having to find a way out of that. And I unearthed lots of sort of habits that I didn't know that I had compositionally, and also embraced some ones that kept coming up that felt
Mm.
I felt okay with, and also just got used to this thing of just making a piece every day, and it not sometimes it would take me like a couple of hours or 3 hours, and I get really fascinated with the little starting idea that I had, and I'd work pretty hard on it, sometimes even longer, and then sometimes it would just come out very quickly, and I wouldn't
Mm.
have to um, fine tune it that
Mm.
much, and it sort of got rid of that kind of this antipathy we have when we start writing a tune, or I had it anyway, at
Mm.
least, where it's you sort of bring in the self judgment quite quickly after
Mm.
the initial excitement. So even after like half an hour, you're like, yeah, but what's this for? Or where's it going now? Or like, you start
Mm.
sort of start trying to judge what you've done already. And
Yeah.
just doing it every day helped me get out of that habit of judging it quite so quickly. And also just knowing that I was going to do it again the next day, and it didn't have to be the best piece ever written, kind of thing. Anyway, with all of that
Yeah.
aside, I ended
That's
up
all really
writing.
interesting.
I ended up writing 52 of these things. Uh, some of them much better than others, but all kind of interesting in a way. And I've made like little dedications to people for different ones and things. And if I happen to be traveling, it would be fun to film them in an interesting way. I'd film them all and score them up and put them online and things.
Yeah.
And then, funny enough, when lockdown happened, I got contacted by a music publisher, like a ye old time music publisher that actually prints music.
Yeah.
And
Physical, actual paper music.
yeah, which I didn't know those guys were still around. I thought they went extinct back in the
Yeah.
Jurassic or Jurassic. But anyway, this sort of independent publisher wanted to publish some of these one-handed pieces, like as a sort of one-handed study book.
Yeah.
Pianists which got an injured hand or just want to work on one hand, or they actually work quite well as two-handed pieces for beginners as well, because it's all
Ah.
scored as two, as with treble and bass clef, like normal
Yeah.
piano scoring. So can work like that. So throughout lockdown, I've been going over them all again, which is kind of funny to be in that headspace again of what I was writing.
Yeah.
That kind of scenario. Maybe this was 4 or 5 years ago. I did this, something like
Yeah.
that. It was funny to be back in that headspace. And then obviously I just sketched them first time, and this time I've been putting articulation in and dynamics and all this stuff that I didn't bother with first time around because it was just a sketch score kind of thing.
Yeah. Or maybe
But
things that you did instinctively that you hadn't written on the score, but now with a bit of distance you can see, oh, I should annotate that because it's part of the piece.
absolutely, and before it was just written for me to play, so I knew music from seeing what the music was. I would know roughly how I would articulate it anyway because it's
Mm.
from my brain. But then having to score it out for people that didn't didn't have all that shorthand was kind of interesting. And that also came about because pianist Eliza McCarthy, who's a great contemporary classical pianist living in London, she asked me to write a piano piece for her. She had a show at King's Place last month, I think it was, and it was the first time I'd written for another piano player. And this was happening around the same time that I was going over these old one-handed
Mm.
pieces. And I wrote out the whole sort of thing, and then I was like, right, I'm going to have to write in dynamics and articulation because it can't just be up for grabs. That's not cool in that world. Even though I'm sure Eliza would have interpreted it beautifully and done all of that intuitively
Mm.
anyway, it was my sort of a bit more responsibility to be a bit more precise with the score
Mm.
in that kind of music. So I found myself learning quite a lot about how much to write in, like in terms of slurring and
Mm. Mm.
articulation and dynamics, and even just instructions, worded instructions of how to approach certain parts, things like that. and writing in pedal instructions and things, and when to
Mm,
write pedaling and when to just
mm, mm, mm.
and with lots of discussions of Eliza about what needed to be written in and what could just be left to chance. And it was quite illuminating in that world what parts are left to chance and what aren't, and tempo markings being incredibly precise and things like that. Like
Okay.
it feels like our world is just so, you have to bring so much of yourself.
Yeah.
It's like almost sort of required when you upon entry.
Yeah.
The deal is that you bring all that ready, even if
Yeah.
you're just playing like, I mean, maybe different in big band, but in any sort of smaller
Yeah.
ensemble, of course, you have to do all that from the off. Let alone sort of maybe even rearranging parts of the tune or whatever. Like you know, in more free contexts, that even more so to the point where there's hardly anything written. So it's a very interesting sort of study on
Yeah.
how much to give who, kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Amazing. Okay, so that's a couple of the things. I was driving, I think, on a Sunday, and on the radio came, is it My Wild Irish Rose? No, my love. You
Black
know,
Yellow.
the it was an organ piece. It's
Ah,
one of your. It's like a folk tune.
yeah, black is the color of my true love's hair.
Yeah,
Mm.
great. So and that's from Kit's organ album, like big church organ, not like jazz organ, which you have played as well, of course. So there's that. There's so much stuff. There's Enemy. Kit has a band called Enemy, which is super cool. Um,
Thanks, man. Nice.
yeah, but I mean, but what are you most excited about these days? Every time I see James or talk to him, I'm like, hey, how's the ECM thing with Kit? Are you going to record? And he's like, yeah, it's rescheduled again. So
Yeah.
that's going to be a uh, great thing when it happens, man.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I even just texted the guys this morning. Just I was idly thinking what I'm
Mm,
going to really look forward to the most when things go a bit more back to normal. It's just playing with those guys again. I missed it so much. I
yeah.
managed to do some sort of duet rehearsing with Petter when I was in Berlin a little bit over the summer, just rehearsing some of the new music. And
Mm,
but we haven't played, obviously, like everyone, we haven't played the three of us for ages. But that would be really fun when we get to do it. I suspect our December dates are probably going to get moved. We haven't been told yet, but it's very likely, obviously.
mm,
That'll happen at some point, I'm sure. And the music's kind of interesting for this one in that um, the first one's quite beatsy and it's very dry recorded and has more of Petter's production
mm,
sensibility in it from his things like Love Declared and Mock and More and things like that. And this one we thought we'd embrace like a more chamber kind of live, um, bigger concert hall, quieter dynamic, less in a way like making the polyrhythmic stuff more hidden
mm,
already than it is, but in terms of the aesthetic, making it more hidden. So
mm, mm,
it might be that you don't hear the game immediately that's going on,
mm.
or and they're most of those pieces are like game pieces in some way rhythmically. Like there's a relationship and it's written in one part, and the way that part interacts with the drums is the whole premise of the
Yeah,
plot.
those things are so fascinating when you sort of perceive something one way, and then an ingredient is added or removed or something, and then suddenly it feels completely different. That's one of the most amazing things, I think, and it
Mm.
kind of mainly, yeah, it mainly happens with rhythm, I think. I don't
Yeah.
really know, but anyway, that's one of the things I do like about that man. So yeah.
The nice thing with that is often you don't need to add more stuff. You can just rearrange the stuff you already have and voice it
Yes.
differently and put it in a different instrument, or like play half of the number of beats that
Yeah.
line has or whatever. Just kind of rearranging the components of it rather than having to add stuff. That's quite a nice thing about it. But with this new music, we've sort of tried to, we don't want to just try and make the same record again in a way.
Mm.
Not like we've mastered the form or anything, not by a long shot, but just just like we were thinking, what's a different way that we could still play those games, but bring in another, um, bring in sound as more of a playful um, color thing, and to try and
Mm.
feel like because we've done so much more live playing since we recorded that first record, it felt like it was going that direction anyway. So that of course has changed the writing as well, and the stuff has more melody, but in a way that's sort of more deceiving in a way, in that there are other things afoot, but the sort of I guess it's a lot more melodic in a way.
Sure.
And it's not like this was a direction we were interested in before thinking about doing it on ECM, but of course it's a very good
It's perfect
for that stuff. So it'll be interesting to see how much of the games we can play and how far we can push it in energy levels and things when they're in the room in Lugano with Manfred.
Yeah.
Like picking takes and things. It'll be a nice tension.
Yeah. Oh, great, man. It's going to be awesome. Let me take a little moment just to say thanks to everyone who's tuned in. Sandy, Amy, Ali, Bex Birch, still waiting for your message for Kit. She wants to communicate, I believe, with Laurel. Karim, safe man, thanks for tuning in. Annalise, Takashi, Suzuki, Ricardo, Kevin, Nathan, Laura, Jerry, Marco, Vic Collins. Thanks so much. Lovely to have so many people hanging out. Yeah, hey everyone. And no one is taking part in the poll, which is what have I got on beneath this unbelievably amazing shirt. So
Hawaiian
no one's
shorts, surely.
Shorts.
Hawaiian shorts. Is it not?
That's your guess. You might get a free CD, Kit. But yeah, the jury's out. So if anyone wants to guess in the comments, feel free. Okay, so before we finish off and play the second video, which I'll tell people a little bit about, you are obviously very creative and doing so many different things. How are you finding lockdown? How are you staying sane? And are you, how's it all been for you since March? How are you kind of handling it? And also, how the hell are you doing all this stuff and also finding time to complete platinum trophies on PS4? That is unbelievable to me.
Well, you just got to prioritize, and you gotta... Yeah, well, I mean, like it's the same as everyone, really. I think it's not like I have a lot of ulterior skills to fall back on either. So, I mean, I tried to learn to drive a little bit with Ruth when it sort of calmed down, when we came out of the first lockdown.
Yeah.
I mean, which I did a little bit when I was a kid, but I took a test and failed it and haven't done it since. So I started trying to get that together. Started trying to learn some Italian so I can become a European citizen again.
Yeah.
And then just the music projects, I just wanted it to feel somehow close to like how it was before a little bit, and just having things ticking along, and that was also a good way of just keeping in touch with lots of people, having an excuse to ring people a lot and chat and stuff. And like with Tom Challenger, who's someone like I used to see all the time, playing all the time, and seeing each other for ages. So I did these remote recording projects right at the beginning, which just featured like a lot of friends and things. It's a similar thing to what you're doing with this, basically. It's like a nice way for, I don't know, just for us to like hang and chat about music and
just connect and do something.
Yeah, make it feel positive somehow. So, I mean, this one's tougher, I think, because it's like something. It's again the same thing, but then also it sort of feels like. With this news of this vaccine, it's like a positive thing, and there's a bit of optimism, and it's hard to know what to do until then, kind of thing. And I can still teach, so a lot of the big thing now, as it was when March first came around, when we were doing online teaching, is just thinking of students, and that's been nice. I've been able to put a lot of time into thinking about like the students I have and what they're working on, and how to make this time not too miserable for them, because it's pretty horrible being a first year and this being a first year. And I know a lot of teachers and students are making an extra effort to put loads of time and energy into working on music and sharing playlists and coming up with good exercises for each other and all that stuff, you know.
Yeah. Awesome.
Good.
Awesome. All right, everyone, time for the reveal. Shorts is what I'm wearing. So you all suck. No one joined in the game except for my wife, who probably felt sorry that no one had joined in. And that just makes me look like a sad loser. So thanks a lot, Amy, for that. She's probably going to come in and smack me in the head in a minute. But let's go to this final tune. But actually, I just wanted to share a quote that a friend of mine sent to me earlier. Actually, I won't tell you who it is. This is about bebop. Okay, you have all the weird chords that have no meaning at all, and people become curious just because it's new, but they soon tire because it's just rubbish, all of it. And you haven't any melody to remember and no rhythm to dance to. Everyone is poor again, and nobody can get a job, and that is the kind of trouble this modern mischief makes.
Wow.
Amazing quote, right? So that is Louis Armstrong about bebop.
Amazing.
That's cool, right?
It's so great.
Yeah, it's back in the day when people would say what they thought.
Yeah.
Everyone's so scared of maybe being sued or, I don't know, or getting in an argument online maybe that we don't really express what we think in the same way anymore. I feel, I don't know, maybe it's just me. So that's something that Louis Armstrong thinks. Okay, this final video. So this was a really, really cool one for me. I reached out to an amazing vocalist called Brigitte Beraha, and I said, hey, I've got these tunes that I've always thought of them as really songy. Do you think you would be up for having a listen and maybe putting some lyrics and singing to them? And she was like, yeah, sure, yeah. And you know, a couple of days later or something, she was like, okay, I've got this poem that I could sing, or I could improvise this, and I was just like, oh my God. And she had so many amazing ideas. So there are actually 4 pieces of music that I've been working on with Brigitte at the moment, which is great because it means on December the 3rd, I'm going to have one of these special QZ sessions with her, and we're going to play 2 of them for you and talk about them and stuff. But this final piece today is kind of a massive 5-way collaboration, I should say. So it's me, it's my friend Adam Kovac on Kashishi and SPDS program drums, it's Kit on piano, it's Brigitte singing and lyrics, and Matt Calvert produced it. And he took it in a completely new direction, honestly. So yeah, he's responsible for a lot of the sounds that you're going to hear. There's a mega piano solo in it. And there's an amazing video which has been put together by the video artist Simon Chung. Thank you, Simon. So yeah, I think I'm going to close out just by playing that. So it's really nice to have some people tuning in. Thanks, everyone. I hope you've enjoyed the stream. Hey, Sam. Hey, Shimon. And any other newcomers, people not on Facebook. Any closing remarks, Christopher, before we sign off?
Just very nice to see you. And all I can say is you've got to get the From Software games. Sink in the hours and get the platinum. It's just worth it. Okay, great. So yeah, so this is a bespoke recommendation from Kit of PS4 games. From Software, that's the programming company. So Dark Souls, Sekiro. Great. Sounds classics. Pretty tricky, but worth it. Yeah. Sounds really dark. Bloodborne and Dark Souls. Yeah. Sounds great, man. But Sekiro sounds nice, but then it's Shadows Die Twice. Yeah. I'm just saying, everyone, it is my birthday on Sunday, so you can decide who's going to get me which From Software game. Anyway, so over to the last video. Hey, Jack Elliott's just checking in, says, yes, Kit, Jay Weber. All right, okay, that's it. We're going to close out on the video. Nice one, everyone. I hope you like this one. Bye.
A thousand hours in one day, 1 minute more to give away, a dial lost or intertwined, childlike wonder at how slow the whole world seems to grow. just how quick the clock can go. Searching, waiting, finding, breathing, and so while planets realign, begin to grasp the lifespan of a man. Make your connections to the smell of time. Remember you are here now, a lot to find out yet. Life as you know it has just begun. Still wish you could